Hello everybody, what is up? It is Voodoo here, and today is Tuesday, February the 19th of 2013, and I am here finally with my special announcement video. Something that I've been hyping up for, it must be at least close to a month by this point. This was supposed to come out a long time ago, but because my health has not been very good, really at all this year so far, it's taken me all the way until this point to get healthy enough and have enough free time where I can sit down and really film this update and talk to you guys about the special announcement. And I apologize that it has taken me so long. It certainly wasn't in my plans, but that's life. Things happen, but the important thing is I'm here now. I'm ready to make the announcement, so I hope that everybody is excited, and I hope that people like the announcement. So, to preface this a little bit, this year, and I talked about this when this year started, I really wanted to make this year my best ever on YouTube, and it kind of started with the brand new camera, obviously, with the 1080p footage. So far, I couldn't be more impressed with how the footage looks. It looks amazing. My playthroughs are amazingly better quality than they used to be. I mean, it's not even comparable anymore. And I'm really enjoying the new quality. And I went over a long list of things and ideas that I wanted to do this year to make this year really special on YouTube. Unfortunately, so far, as I said, I haven't really been able to put a lot of effort into doing that yet this year because of my health, but I'm hoping that very soon my health will stabilize and I'll be able to really start putting a lot of good effort into this. But, I sat down and thought about, since I've been doing this for over 2 years now, when was really the time when I had the best of both worlds, the best combination of I was having the most fun and getting the most viewership. The perfect combination. Really, the fun comes first, but the viewership is always nice. And I thought about it and I said, what I think what really makes my channel stand out and would make it stand out even more, is when it's not just me, but I involve my friends in this process, and I involve people that I know and have relationships with into the channel, whether that be through co-op gaming, whether that be through podcasts, whether that be through, vacation videos, or just whatever it is that involves not just me, but other people. Because I really feel that, that gives this channel something unique and interesting that maybe a lot of other channels probably don't have. The fact that, after a while, if it's just me on the channel, it's going to get boring and stale. If you have the same person with the same sense of humor doing the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes repetitive and stale. And, when I was having the most fun was really when I'm involving my friends. And I really wanted to put an emphasis on that this year, and it's already started with my very first playthrough of 2013, where I'm doing a full co-op playthrough of Dead Space 3 with my friend Dave. We're having an absolute blast. We're really enjoying playing the game, but our experience is made 5 times better just because we're able to play it together, and that's so much more fun to be able to sit down with a friend and play through a game that you're both enjoying co-op. It makes it a ton of fun. And I really thought about this, and I was thinking that, that's all great, but there seems to be one vital component that is still missing from my plans and from my content that really, when it was part of this channel, was so huge and entertaining and fun that it's a shame that it went away. And this component that I'm talking about was mainly last year in 2012, when I had a great relationship and did a lot of different things with my friend Brandon. And for those of you who may be new to the channel over the past few months, to give you a brief recap and summary of who Brandon is. Brandon is a guy, he's not actually, he doesn't actually live here around me. I live in Louisiana. He actually lives in California. But Brandon is a guy that I met over YouTube back in 2011, the first year I was doing this. He actually contacted me one day out of the blue and asked if we could do some gameplay together because he saw my channel and liked what I did. I said yes, And to make a long story short, we sat there on that day and played hours upon hours of Call of Duty Black Ops 1 online. And we clicked like that. I mean, we started playing, and by the end of the day, we were really good friends. And that friendship blossomed into really kind of a partnership where all of last year, we did a lot of different things. We did co-op playthroughs. Probably the most notable was a full co-op playthrough of the game Dead Island. That was actually back in the end of 2011. Into early 2012 we did that playthrough. We did tons upon tons of Call of Duty Black Ops 1 multiplayer videos together. We did other games together. We did Resident Evil Raccoon City together. But probably the most notable thing that we ever did, and the most successful thing that we ever did, was a podcast called Voodoo's Brew that we put out 9 episodes of. And what Voodoo's Brew was like I said, it was a podcast where he and I would sit down over excuse me, I'm still not 100% back. We would sit down over Skype and we would just talk. We would talk about, mainly gaming. We would cover a lot of gaming news, which was big because it gave us an opportunity to talk about news and gaming and give our opinions and stuff on that. But we would talk about a lot of other stuff too. We would talk about our own lives, our own interests, things going on in the world, things going on YouTube, things like that. It was massively successful, and we had tons of fun doing it. And every episode really got hundreds of views, which for my channel is huge. That's big time for my channel, and we really enjoyed it. But what eventually happened was, Brandon, at the time that we were in our prime, I guess you can say, he was in high school, really he was a senior in high school. And what happened was, pretty much at the end of the summer last year in 2012, he went on to college in his first semester, and because of that, he got very busy, and of course I remained busy because I was in college at that point already. And unfortunately, we just kind of parted ways. We started talking less and less as we got busier and busier, and eventually it got to the point where we just weren't talking much anymore at all. And we stopped doing the podcast, and we really just stopped our partnership, basically. He actually had a channel on YouTube where he was doing videos and stuff like that. He had something go on in his personal life that required more attention, and because of that, he actually wound up shutting down his YouTube channel, so he completely got off of YouTube, and we just kind of went separate ways. And it was really a shame because I really enjoyed doing the podcast, and one of my big ideas for 2013 to make this year great was to start up a brand new podcast where basically it was going to be myself and my friends that were here, like Dave and Tyler, and we were going to do a new podcast to kind of bring back, the podcast element to my channel. And we were going to do that, and we thought about doing it for a while. But the more and more I thought about it, the more I said, there's really nothing new that I can think of for us to do on the podcast that we didn't do on Voodoo's Brew. And what I really was scared of and thought was going to happen was that new podcast was basically going to be the same thing as Voodoo's Brew was, except without Brandon and I, without that chemistry that he and I had when we did those shows. And I was just so scared that it was going to be basically a clone of Voodoo's Brew, but it could never live up to how good the original Voodoo's Brew was, that I decided, you know what, it's not going to work, and I scrapped the idea. I'm going to have to check the time because I do have a recording limit on this camera. If I go over, I'll just make 2 videos and splice them together. But after thinking about it and after talking to some people, I have decided what I'm going to do, and this is the big announcement right now, is that starting very soon, and I don't know, what exactly when yet, but starting soon, myself and Brandon will be reuniting. We'll be bringing back the most popular, successful thing ever here on this channel. Brandon and I are reviving Voodoo's Brew, and that's pretty awesome, considering that we haven't done an episode of Voodoo's Brew since June of 2012. So it's been over half a year at this point. That was our big E3 special where we did basically 2.5 hours of him and I sitting down, breaking down E3 2012, talking about it, and, you know, had a lot of fun. It was a great episode. Excuse me. Hundreds of views. It was awesome. And I've talked to him about it, and we've decided we're going to bring back the podcast. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had a real opportunity to sit down with him on Skype and discuss like the specifics of it, discuss ideas, discuss timing, things like that yet, because my health hasn't been there. But since it appears that I'm finally healthy now, hopefully very soon, maybe as early as this weekend, he and I can sit down over Skype. We can have a conversation about Voodoo's Brew, and not only that, but just to catch up. I mean, I haven't had a real conversation with Brandon in months, and I miss the conversations we used to have, because we were good friends, and we used to talk a lot about stuff, you know, not related to YouTube or whatever, just on Skype on our own time, and I miss doing that. So hopefully soon we'll be able to sit down, catch up with each other, and really talk about Voodoo's Brew, talk about new ideas, because it's basically going to be rooted in the same things that we used to do, like talking about gaming news, talking about other stuff, but we want to improve it, we want to make it bigger and better. We want to, you know, add new elements to it that's really going to take it above and beyond what it ever used to be. And some quick preliminary ideas that I've had, like I said, I need to discuss these with Brandon, and I'm sure he might have some ideas to add as well. But some of the things I was thinking with where we eventually want to go with the podcast is things like be able to build up a steady audience that, you know, every time we do an episode, we don't know how they're going to be spaced yet, but whenever we do an episode, we have a loyal fan base that watches the episodes like that. And we want to build up a good relationship with the fan base of the show. And what we would really like to do is have a question and answer type of segment on the show where, you know, every week we film an episode, and then in the comments of that episode people leave us questions, and then in the next episode we go back and the two of us answer questions that were posted on the previous episode. For us, that would be a ton of fun, because we never got to do anything like that on the original Voodoo's Brew. I'm sure that the people have a lot of questions for the two of us, especially since Brandon's been gone for a while. But we'd love to do something, or I keep saying we, I haven't really talked to him yet, but that's an idea that I would love to do. I think it would be a lot of fun. Having possibly, you know, new segments that we do every week, like there's a certain segment, okay, this, you know, where we have a weekly segment on the show where we do a certain thing. Would be a lot of fun, and maybe add some more structure to our show. You know, and we could brainstorm and get some ideas for segments that we could do each episode. Ultimately, an idea that I have where I would ultimately like to take the show, if it got enough, you know, consistent fan base, and we could basically put it out at a consistent time, you know, once we decide if it's going to be every 2 weeks or whatever, we can put it out on like a consistent day every 2 weeks, so we can build up really that consistency with the viewers and stuff like that. I would love to be able to ultimately live stream episodes of Voodoo's Brew, where basically we go on a site like Justin TV or Twitch TV, and we basically do a video stream where, you know, I'll turn on my webcam and you can see me in person. You'll be able to hear Brandon over Skype. And at that live stream, we will do our recording of Voodoo's Brew. We'll have a live audience. People could ask us live questions during the stream that we'd be able to answer for you guys live. Possibly have a segment at the live show where people could Skype call us and actually be on the episode of Voodoo's Brew, where we might randomly pick, you know, 2 or 3 people a week just out of the people who are watching to come on the show, you know, to give us a call on Skype, and we'll have you on the show and talk to you for a little bit, and, you know, maybe film the actual episode of Voodoo's Brew 1 or 2 days in advance of when we actually release it on YouTube. That way the people who come to the live stream have some kind of benefit. They actually get to see, or, you know, see and hear the episode of Voodoo's Brew a day or two before everybody else when we actually upload it on YouTube. And I think that would be a ton of fun to eventually make Voodoo's Brew into a live streaming show that, you know, we would upload to YouTube a couple days later, because we could do so much with a live stream with the fan interaction and all that kind of stuff. It would be great. I think that's ultimately where I'd like to get with it, because I think it would be a ton of fun. And, you know, it would take a while to get there because, like I said, we need to establish some consistency, get a consistent fan base, and people who would be interested in attending a live event like that. So that's basically the big announcement, and not only Voodoo's Brew, but just get Brandon back involved in my YouTube channel, doing gameplay again, doing co-op playthroughs. One of the big things I'd like to target is obviously for he and I to do a co-op playthrough of Dead Island Riptide, because we did a full co-op playthrough of Dead Island 1. It was a blast. I had so much fun doing that, and I think it would be great to do like a 3-player playthrough this time with myself, my friend Chris, whom I've already talked about doing it with, and Brandon. I think the 3 of us, Chris is a good friend of mine. I did some videos of the original Halo that are up on this channel that I did co-op with him, and they were a scream. It was hilarious. We had the time of our life playing that. You know that Brandon and I have good chemistry, so I'm thinking you put the 3 of us together on a crazy, hilarious game like Dead Island, it's going to be gold. So I'd really like to do something like that and just kind of get Brandon back in the fold of things. Because I know people who watch my channel really like Brandon and really thought he was funny and added so much to the channel, and I agree. I think that so much of what my channel was last year was due to him and his contributions to the gameplay, to the podcast, to everything that we did. So I think that redoing Voodoo's Brew, instead of trying to replace it with a podcast that I don't feel would be as good, simply because it would be the same content, but it wouldn't really be the true Voodoo's Brew, you know. There's other things I'd like to do with it. I have a Mac now, so I have iMovie, which is giving me a lot of pain. I'm having growing pains trying to use the thing, but I feel like I could learn to use it eventually, and I could do some editing on the episodes of Voodoo's Brew. I could add some pictures, I could add some videos, I could do some different stuff, you know, video editing wise with the episodes. You know, we have a lot of, or at least we're going to hopefully have a lot of big plans, good improvements and stuff. We'll of course have guests like we used to, which, you know, that's when I'll involve like Dave and Tyler and Chris and some other people. You know, like if we do the 3-player co-op of Dead Island, you know, when we do our Voodoo's Brew during that period, we'll bring Chris in to be a special guest on an episode, and we'll all talk about our experience with Dead Island and all that kind of good stuff. And this is a great year to do it because there's big stuff coming this year. I mean, just tomorrow, there's supposed to be the PlayStation 4 announcement. You know, we're all expecting that the new Xbox will be announced at some point during this year, probably at E3. Again, we're planning on doing another big E3 special this year, 2013. And man, if we have new consoles to talk about, you thought that last year's video was long at 2.5 hours. Man, if we have a new PlayStation, a new Xbox to talk about, who knows how long that episode will be. But yeah, I think it's a really good year to do it. There's a lot of good news going on in gaming. There's a lot going on this year in the video game community. So I just think it's a good time to do it. I think that people will really enjoy it, and I think that if we can really achieve where we want to get with this podcast, that it could be huge. It could blow up and be huge, and people would really enjoy it. Brandon and I would get tons of enjoyment out of it, and we just hope that the fan base that we had last year when we were doing it returns when we do it this time, because it's been a while, but a lot of people used to watch the Voodoo's Brew in the old days, and so we really hope that that fan base carries over and that we continue to grow, we continue to make Voodoo's Brew bigger and better, and yeah, that's the announcement. So I'll hopefully be able to sit down and talk with Brandon about it soon. We'll discuss some of the finer details, we'll come up with a plan for it, we'll talk about, you know, how often we want to do it, days we want to do it, and then hopefully start prepping to film the very first episode, the reboot episode, which will actually be episode 10, we're going to continue. It's going to be a continuation. We're not rebooting it. It's going to be episode 10, and we're going to keep rolling from there. And obviously, we'll have a lot to talk about in that first episode. I mean, I don't even need to go into it. That first episode is going to have a lot of good content. So, yeah, that's the announcement. I hope that you guys are happy with it. I hope that you're pleased with it. I hope that it was worth the huge delay in the announcement. But I think this is a good thing. I think this is positive. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we, of course, want your input on it, too. If you're an old follower of Voodoo's Brew, let us know what you think. Give us some ideas for things we could do with the show and segments and things like that, because we'd love to hear it. So, alright guys, thank you very much for watching this special announcement. For the last time, I apologize that it took me so long to make it, but I really hope that people are excited about this, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a good thing going into this year. So, I'm Voodoo. Thank you guys very much. I will continue to update you guys about the progress of Voodoo's Brew as I talk to Brandon and things are kind of set. And I will update you on the progress of when that first episode of this year is going to be released, so you guys have some idea, alright? Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon with gameplay, and at some point, hopefully in the near future, with the return of Voodoo's Brew and really the return of Brandon to YouTube in at least in the capacity of doing things with me on my channel, alright? So, thanks for watching, and I will see you later.